What are the 4 stages in your Forex trading journey and how you can become an expert trader? Coming up next. Now, these 4 stages are not generalizations. This is based on my own personal experience. So when you're a beginner, you are really an expert in something. You are an expert in blowing up accounts. So at this stage, you'll be blowing up accounts and also very close to blowing up many different accounts. When you're first starting out, what's going to happen is that you are going to go through many different websites, you're going to different seminars, you're going to go through different courses, you'll come across tons of Forex trading videos, and what is going to happen to you is that you're going to go through an information overload. You wouldn't know what is good, what information to trust, who to trust, should I trust careful or not because she might be a scam. And what's going to happen is that your chart is going to be overloaded with different indicators. One indicator from this forum, one indicator from this article, one indicator from really confusing. Your whole entire chart is going to be cluttered and you can't even see the candlestick on the chart. Now, you're going to be so super excited. You envision yourself living the Maserati lifestyle, the yacht lifestyle, the mansion lifestyle, quitting your job next month, bringing your family travel around the world by the end of the year, which I would say is a bit unrealistic. Whether it's demo or live, their trades will be very likely to be driven of fear, greed, overconfidence, fear of missing out. They're going to commit every single mistake I mentioned in this channel, which is mistakes that I've committed that I don't want you to commit. And then they're going to attend tons of seminars to find the secret formula, to find the holy grail, which doesn't even exist. So a lot of people go through this cycle in the beginner stage, getting information overload and then blowing up many accounts. Most people just quit. They have this expectation that's up there, but then reality hits. Then they're just out of the game before they even put in 1,000 hours of practice, of hard work, of patience. If you're still in the beginner stage, your aim should not be to achieve $1 million status by the end of this year. Your aim is just to make sure that you avoid losing as much as you can. Preferably, your drawdown for your account should not be more than 30%. Only one purpose, one goal. Meaning, in other words, avoid blowing as many accounts as you can. Now you go to stage 2, where you are at the intermediate level. You are going to blow less accounts, or you are not going to blow accounts anymore. You stop dabbling at this point because you realize that, oh, you know what? The holy grail doesn't exist, so why dabble anyway? Why not just focus on one thing? Because right now you realize that focusing on too many things not only decreases your profitability but also makes you super confused. So at this stage, you will also have more realistic expectations. You start to set a good ROI target rather than 1,000% a year. And if they do trade, their trades will still be driven by emotions. But then some of their trades will also be driven by rational thinking, meaning you have a mixture of both. So your aim here when you're at intermediate stage is again not to achieve millionaire status right away. Your aim right here is to focus on breaking even. Right now you want to make back to your initial capital. Because here's the thing, most traders lose money anyway, which means that their ROI is negative. Their capital right now is always less than their initial starting capital. So if you're able to break even, you are already way ahead than more than half of the traders. Again, the second stage is also where a lot of traders quit because they aim for quitting a job. Then they realize that they're not even break even yet. Like, what the shit is this? Then because they don't see any money coming in, they get discouraged and then they give up. When you lose money when you first start out, it's not that you're a bad trader. Unless your strategy really sucks, then you change that. Also, unless your broker sucks, then you also need to change that. But then if you're consistently working on your strategy, you're consistently working on mindset, you're consistently sticking to one strategy, focusing on one thing that is proven, then just understand that this is all part of the journey, part of the process. Most pro traders nowadays have to go through stage 1 and stage 2. And the reason why a lot of traders lose nowadays is because they just rush the whole entire thing. They skip step 1, they skip step 2. They think that they can be expert trader on the first day, second day. It's like signing up for an engineering course in college. After the first week of classes, you go to a professor and then you ask your professor, Prof, how come I'm not an engineer yet? Same thing for Forex. You need to treat like an education, graduate education. And one of the ways you learn fast is to learn by your mistakes. If you skip stage 1, stage 2, then what do you have to learn from? What do you have to learn from? Then once you have gone past the first stage, second stage, this is where the good news is. Now I'm not saying that the journey is going to be easier. You're going to a state of flow. Now when it comes to stage 3, when you have reached here, you'll be an advanced trader. Now when you're an advanced trader, you will be able to generate consistently positive ROI at the end of every year. Now bear in mind that even some pro traders, at the end of every year, they might have a negative ROI, but in the long term, they'll be able to generate a positive ROI consistently. So when you're at this stage, you trade with the mindset of how the pro traders trade, okay, which is capital preservation. Protect your account as much as you can by proper risk management strategies. When you take care of risk, profit will take care of itself. Way too many traders, all they focus on is profit, money. That's what they lose. Assuming that you have learned from all your mistakes from your trading journal. If you haven't, then trading is not for you, okay? After so many hits, slaps, you're still not learning from mistakes. They would start to trade rationally, and they will avoid all their past trading mistakes. So your aim right now over here is to generate a positive ROI by the end of every year. And that doesn't mean that when you reach the advanced stage, you need to stop growing. I don't care if all the hedge funds want you to trade for them. You still need to continue learning every single day. So final stage, this is where you might want to be, which is the top 1% of profitable traders. Now if you're fine with stage 3, it's fine, you can just stop there. 1 to 10% ROI per year. If you're happy with that, then just stop there. If you want to take your trading game to the next level, then this stage is for you. So when you're at stage 4, you start to trade with a bigger picture in mind. Now what do I mean by that? You start to understand how the economic situations affect your trade. You start to understand how the movement in the stock market today would affect your trading game in the long run. The different movements of different markets, commodities, oil, gold, how it affects your trades. And when you're at this stage, you'll be able to go either part-time or full-time into trading. And this is also when a lot of the who are prop trading firms, hedge funds will approach you. Sometimes you might be approached to do a speech in a conference, in a workshop, in a seminar, do your sharing, share your experience. And of course, when you're in the expert level, not only would you be able to trade rationally, you would have this extra edge, which is you start to have this gut feeling. Now, if you look at how George Soros trade, if you read his book, Aesthetic, okay? But some of the trades that George Soros take are based on gut feeling. Some of the trades that he exits were also based on gut feeling. You know, those days where all your criteria are fulfilled, but then you just have this gut feeling that, you know, this might not work out for today. Now, it's very different from gambling. Don't confuse gambling mindset with gut feeling. How do you get this gut feeling? Is through experience. You just know that in your subconscious mind that somehow, some way, this trade will not work out. You know what I mean when you reach stage 4. And of course, during this stage, whenever you have a winning trade and then you have a losing trade, you also would have no emotions attached. Meaning that on a winning trade, you feel the same way, and on a losing trade, you also feel the same way. Now this is hard to achieve. If you haven't watched my video on how to achieve the neutral state, I'll put the link down in the description below, or you can see the info card. When you're able to trade losing and winning trades the same way, that is when you will start to win. That is when you start to become a champion trader. So again, when you're at this expert level, people will start asking you for advice because they know how good of a trader you are. Then how do you know whether you are a real expert or not? Is when you're able to take something really complicated and then you can explain it in a very simple manner. You can explain Forex trading to a 5-year-old and he or she will understand. Any kid out there can understand what you're saying. You can open a kindergarten school for Forex trading. So once you're at the expert level, then you can start to think big and aim big, okay? You can start to think about how you can achieve the lifestyle that you desire. How do you can gradually transition to quit your job, to start business, to support a family, to travel around the world. So your aim right here would be generate high ROI of at least 10%, depending on your risk appetite. Whether you want 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% a year. You need to determine your risk appetite, you need to determine your trading personality, what your financial goals are, to find out what kind of ROI that is suitable for you. Let me know in the comment section down below which stage are you at right now and what are you working on so that you can go to the next stage. So with that, I'm Karen and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.